Welcome to the Croquet Desk, your AI-hosted show. This is the Croquet Desk, MacRobertson Shield, and it is day 2 of round 1, England against Australia at Hurlingham and Roehampton. And the defending champions are making themselves very clear indeed. The current test score, England 15, Australia 4. And Cordelia, that is not a scoreline you recover from quietly.
No, it is not. England have swept almost everything today, and the only Australian with anything to show for himself in today's singles is Greg Hill, 2 wins over Robert Fulford, which we shall discuss properly in a moment.
Also in play, the United States and New Zealand. New Zealand currently lead that test 8 games to 6. Coming up, Cordelia takes apart the decisive moments in England's day, and we look at where both tests go from here. Stay with us. So, today's play in full, beginning with England. James Death swept Dwayne McCormick in 2, both triple peels. Samir Patel did the same to Stephen Forster, a triple peel in the first, 26-9 in the second. Mark Avery beat Trevor Bassett 26-4, and then 26 with the triple peel. Jamie Burch beat Stephen Pearce 26-13 and 26-0.
Clean sweeps, all of them, and Avery's triple peel in the second match particularly tidy, given he'd already won the first comfortably.
And then there was Jack Good, who beat Lachlan Berryman 26-0 and 26-5, both with triple peels.
Good's execution was impeccable both times. Clean, controlled, nothing left to chance.
The one England match with a story attached. Robert Fulford against Greg Hill.
Fulford took the first game in style, a triple peel to 12. But Hill came straight back, 26-8, and then a triple peel shutout to Love to take the match 2 games to 1. So Hill gets the better of a 7-time champion on the day. He is the one Australian who has genuinely troubled England, and that is worth noting.
Across in the other test, New Zealand and the United States. Chapman and Fordyce beat both pairs they faced today, executing triple peels, finishing on Fordyce against Essick and Watson, and beating Balding and Maloof 26-9. Westerby and Webby also won against Balding and Maloof, Westerby landing the triple, though Balding and Maloof did take 1 game back. So, where things stand, England lead Australia 15 games to 4. New Zealand lead the United States 8-6.
England are where you'd expect the holders to be. That 15-4 margin is comprehensive. Australia have taken points only through Hill and the Forster-Pearce doubles pair.
New Zealand and the United States rather closer. 8-6 is still a live contest.
It is. The USA have been competitive in patches, but New Zealand have the edge in the doubles, and that's where the margin has been built.
Round 2 at Sussex County pairs the Round 1 winners against the Round 1 losers. Round 3 runs at Surbiton, the 5th to the 9th of August.
The precise advancement mechanism for those rounds hasn't been published. We know who plays whom in Round 2, and we know Surbiton is where the Shield gets decided. That is genuinely all that's confirmed.
So, England will go into Round 2 with a 15-4 game lead in hand, and New Zealand with a 2-game advantage. We'll have more on what the schedule holds tomorrow. Cordelia, you've been watching the England singles closely today. Is there a match that stands out above the rest?
Fulford against Hill without question.
Set it up for us.
Fulford took the first game in some style, a triple peel 26-12, and looked to be cruising. Then Hill came straight back and took the next 2, 26-8, and then a triple peel shutout to Love.
Fulford's the man who has won the MacRobertson Shield 7 times, a record, twice as captain.
And that's exactly why it matters. Hill had to get past the most decorated player in the competition's history twice in a row to take the match.
Hill takes it 2 games to 1 against a player of that standing. Genuinely the day's best individual result for Australia, even if the test overall tells a very different story.
Hill is the only Australian with anything to show from today's singles. It's a real result on a difficult day, but it sits inside a 15-4 game deficit. England are not troubled.
Tomorrow it's doubles for England and Australia back at Roehampton, and singles for the United States and New Zealand over at Hurlingham.
The New Zealand-USA singles is the one to watch. New Zealand led 8 games to 6 in that test, with plenty of singles still to come.
England's test looks all but settled at 15 games to 4. But there's still a full day of doubles to be played before round 2.
For Australia, today's win from Hill is one bright spot to build on. The doubles pairings will want to add to that tomorrow.
We'll have the singles from Hurlingham and the doubles from Roehampton, right here on the Croquet Desk.
The USA-New Zealand count is where I'll have my eye. That's the test that's still genuinely open.
All of that and more tomorrow here on the Croquet Desk. And that brings us to the close of Play. Before we go, a brief word. This program is one of a whole stable of AI-hosted shows at myAIshows.com, sport and beyond, each with hosts of their own and free to sample. Do pay them a visit. Thank you, as ever, for your company. Do tell your friends, subscribe if you'd be so kind, and may your hoops run ever in your favor. Good evening.